80 to 90% of most photographs are taken with people, the same height off the ground, and it's that same perspective. And after a while, it gets tiring. It's almost like a visual cliche. So the challenge in this assignment, this dramatic angles, is to do something different. Don't just stand there with the camera, 5 feet off the ground. Get high or get low and find a dramatic angle. Now let me explain a little bit more about what this means. It means that you need to have a vertical difference in elevation between where the camera is and where the subject is. In other words, if the camera and the subject are right here on the same line, obviously that's not a dramatic angle. So what I'm looking for is, you taking the camera and perhaps shooting up, and the subject is up here, a vertical difference. Or if you're the shooter and you're pointing down, the subject is down here. Again, a vertical difference in elevation between where the camera is and where the subject is. All right? You might think, oh, a dramatic angle might be getting down low. Say I want to shoot a picture of my pet dog, and so you get down on the ground and right down there on the carpet, and the dog is kind of sleeping or whatever, and you get a shot. And that might be kind of fun and different, but it's truly not a dramatic angle, because what's going on there? Well, you've gotten down on the dog's level. Yes, you've gotten down low, the camera's low, but the dog is at basically the same level, so we don't have that difference in vertical elevation. I've got some sample shots here to show you that I've pulled out of my archive to show what previous students have done for this assignment. And it kind of reminds me that when we look for dramatic angles, there can be an interesting psychological effect that can happen when you shoot up at a subject or you're shooting down. Take a look, for instance, at this example. I think this was shot in the Halsey Wellness Center, and this guy's working out with weights. So the photographer got down low and he's shooting up at the subject. You see one of the dumbbells there in his hand. And but what does this do? How does this make you feel about the subject? Well, it just emphasizes the power and strength, and that often is one of those psychological effects that happens when we shoot subjects looking up at them. They almost seem in charge, or people in authority, or they have power. So you might use that to an effect. Here's another example, a shot of simply this ladder that is leading your eye right up into this tree. And it's kind of neat in this shot because where the ladder ends is this kind of the brightest part of the picture. But again, this is an example of a difference in elevation. The shooter was down low, looking up at the ladder and seeing where it ends in the tree there. This is a shot I took a couple of years ago, about this time of year when it was really cold outside. Here's some icicles hanging down off of a bluff. And I was able to get down below the icicles and shoot up at them, and they just look like walrus tusks, right? They're just, the big old sharp sickles hanging right down into the picture at a dramatic angle. So I hope this gives you a little idea. Now we can flip this around. Let's show you an example of a shooter up high, and shooting down low. So this shot is at night in downtown Chattanooga, and the photographer got up on top of a parking deck. Okay, and so the parking deck is really high, and you're actually above the height of all the other surrounding buildings. And then the perspective here, it's kind of an urban landscape shot, is looking down on the buildings below at night. And by the way, here's a shot to kind of illustrate what I'm not looking for. And I think we've looked at this before, maybe on the first day of class. It was this golf ball shot. And you see this, and it is kind of, a dramatic angle in one sense of the word. It's, really up close, and the camera's kind of cocked at an angle. But again, the camera is down low right next to the golf ball, and you see the cup just beyond in the distance, but everything is kind of at the same elevation here. Again, there's not a big difference between where the shooter was and where the subject is, so this is not a good example of a dramatic angle picture. Well, I hope those examples give you a little better idea of what I'm looking for.